Welcome back again to our channel. So in this part, we're going now to the introduction to HTML part 5. And in this part 5, we'll be talking about the HTML quotation and citation elements. I'm sure you're excited to know. Although this is not the only thing we're going to talk about in our part 5, we also talk about HTML comments, HTML colors, HTML styles, or CSS. So we are going to see some HTML styles you can use from our CSS. So follow along with me. Let's do this together. So let's start with our HTML quotation and citation elements, which is the first part we'll be taking today. What do we mean by HTML quotation and citation elements? In this part, we'll go through the block quotes, B tag, abbreviation tag, address, site, and the BDO HTML element. Now, what do all these tags mean? The HTML quotation and citation elements, these are the tag here and these are the description. For the ABBR, it defines an abbreviation or acronym. For the address, it defines the contact information for the author or owner of a document. For the BDO, it defines the text direction. For the block quote, it defines a section that is quoted from another source. For the site, it defines the title of a work. And for the Q, it defines a short inline quotation. Let's continue. You are going to understand how to use this one after the other in our code editor. Do not forget, we are using our VS Code editor for our coding. We have the HTML block quotes for quotation. We are going to start with that. The HTML block quote element defines a section that is quoted from another source. So browsers usually indent the block quote elements. Now what do we mean? Here, this is our P tag. We have this quote. Here is a quote from WWF website. This is just a content that we should display in a paragraph. Now, if you use this tag, the block quote tag, site, you are going to write the name of the website here. This is an example of name of website. Then you can write this content. So this content here will be in a block quote because we indicated that on our tag. Now I'm going to write this, we'll copy this code now on our VS Code. So let's search for our VS Code. Visual Studio, open. We are waiting for it to load. So after it has loaded, we'll go to our files to search for the folder we've created to work on. So remember the last time we talked about using the VS Code, we open our folder, we name it tech in tech, then we right click and choose option of using our VS Code. Or you can just go to your VS Code straight, then you open it. Now this open for me because it's something I've used earlier. So we are not going to use all these. I'm going to delete them. So let's start afresh. So for you to be able to, you can, if you already have a file or folder, you can just come to this file here, click on it, then click new file. When I click new file, it will take you to where you are going to write the name of your file. But I already have one here, so I don't need it. This is sample.html. So if you want to create a file like this, you can just click file and click new file, then name it whatever you want .html. Or if you want to create a folder without opening your VS Code first, you go to your file manager, you create a new folder, name it whatever name you want, then you right click on it and open it using VS Code. Then after opening it through VS Code, then you see option to create your HTML file up. So now let's copy our code. I have a code copied already on my notepad. So I'll copy this and paste. So remember we want to talk about this block quote site. Let's see how it's going to appear in our browser. So to work on this, always remember we are going to right click To make it show on our browser, you right click and you click on open with live server. If I watch the previous video, you are going to understand how we are able to right click and get our open live server. Then if you've not watched that, please do well to watch the previous video, which is introduction to HTML part 4. Do well to watch it one step at a time, because if you don't, you might find it difficult to understand this part. So carefully watch that. It analyze 5 code editors, it explains it, and we are able to work on some aspect of our code. And we're able to work on our VS code to see how we can make use of it. So we want this code be written now to show on our browser. So I right click on it and open with my live server. So we are going to wait for it to load. So let's wait a bit. It's loading already. So it's going to show on our browser now. Whatever browser, default browser you have on your system, be it your Chrome, be it your Firefox, your Explorer. After right clicking, then you can see it here, it's saying it's starting. So you have to be patient. In case if it takes long time, try to close all browser windows. So you can see that it's starting here. We want it to go live, so we are waiting for it. So let's wait now. It's going to start soon. Can you see? Can you see now? So this p tag here, let me minimize it so that we're going to understand what we did in our code and what we can see. So yeah, this is our paragraph, the p tag. Here is a quote from the video. Can you see it here? Yes. And the block quotes, you have to write the name of the website where you got those quotes from. Now let me minimize the VS Code so that we can see properly what we are talking about here. So now we have, here is a quote from WWF website. So this is it here. Here is the quote here. Now you have to write the name of the website. Like after you have put your block quote size, you put the website there. Although you can see that the website is not showing, but it's trying to tell us where the quote is from. Then you write the content for 60 years, stuff and so on. So you all the content is displayed here. Can you see organization? If you keep moving it, you see the many contents here. So for me to reduce it, I can reduce the length of clicking enter. So now let's see together all the content was written here. I can extend it a bit so that you can see the content in which they live. Can you see? So it is written in a block code. So if you want to write something in a block code, you use your block codes here. So let's go back to the next one and see, talk about the next tag. In the next tag, we have the HTML tag for short quotations. So this HTML tag divides a short quotation. Browsers normally insert quotation marks around the quotation. So we are going to copy this code and see how it's going to work on our VS Code. So I have it already here on my notepad. So I'm going to copy this now using the p tag. Then I'll go to my VS Code. So what I will just do here is I can still as well delete everything since I've copied everything. So I'll paste the new one here. So now you do the same thing by going to your browser or right click and open with live server so that it can show us as well. So you can see here now, this p tag here, browser usually insert quotations, stuff like that, is written here in a paragraph. Why this p, you can see that WWF goal is to, then a q tag is here. Now what difference does it make? After is to, okay, so you can see a quote up here trying to tell you that the next statement that will be written in a quote. So that's the meaning of this q. So wherever you want your code to be written, you put your q tag here, then it will write the many contents in your code. Now let's go back to see more of our tag that we are going to learn about today. We also have the ABBR, which is known as what? Abbreviations. So the HTML ABBR tag defines an abbreviation or an acronym. Like we can say that HTML is an abbreviation. of hypertext mark language, while the CSS is abbreviation of cascading style sheet, while MR abbreviation of Mr, DR doctor, ASAP as soon as possible, ATM automated machine. So all these ABBR helps to make the word, giving it an acronym or an abbreviation. So marking abbreviations can give useful information to browser, translation system and search engines. So we are going to copy this code as well. It's already on my notepad. Then we'll copy it into our VS Code. So we are going to see how it's going to give us an abbreviation. So I'm copying it now. Control copy, minimize this and open my VS Code. Let me delete all this and paste. So you can see here now. So we are going to right click as well, open with our live server. So let's see what is going to give us. Now look at it here. The abbreviation title, you can see this D here. This D here is the first one written here in the P tag paragraph. Now, the next thing is we want the next content to be written in abbreviation. So that's why we write abbreviation, ABBR, title, World Health Organization. Then you put WHO. So it's trying to tell the anyone checking the browser, trying to let them know that this content here is abbreviation. It is not the full word of that content. So when you put your ABBR title, it helps to indicate to whoever the user that is using the browser to help them to know that is an abbreviation. Then you can see that it has a opening tag and a close tag. Then this was written normally as a continuation, 1948. Then this many content here, the P tag is written here. So the purpose of this ABBR title is to help the user that is in the browser to know that this content here is an abbreviation. So it's important to be used whenever you're coding to make your work easier for whoever user that will be using it, to help them to understand what you are trying to teach or explain to them in your browser. So as a programmer, it is important to take note of that. So let's continue. Let's see the next tag. Now the address. Say HTML address for contact information. So when you use this HTML tag, this address tag is defines the contact information for the author or the owner of a document or an article. The contact information can be an email address like an URL, a physical address, phone number, social media handle and so on. So the text in the address element usually renders is always shown in italics, and the browser will always add a line break before and after the address element for you to be able to know that whatever you are writing there is an address. Now we are going to copy this code now. We are going to see how it's going to be written on our browser. So I'm going to copy this. I already have it in my notepad. So I'll copy this now, control copy. Then I'll go to my VS Code. I'll paste it there. So we are going to see what address is going to give us. So you right click as well, open with your live server, then we'll see the difference. Now can you see the way it is written? Now this first one is the Peter. The HTML address element defines contact information, the author, the owner of the document, and so on. It is written in the P tag. Now the next one, you are trying to tell it that okay, the next I'm writing should be written in an address form. I see that the address tag is here and it has a close tag of address. Now written by John Doe. BR here means break, like you want the next statement to be written in another line. Now visit us at it break, that means you want the next content to be written in another line. So let's see how it looks in our browser. Can you see the way it is written by John Doe? It break the next one, visit us at. Now even though this visit us at is beside this, as long as I have put break here, it's still going to write this same thing in another line. Let me refresh for you to see. Can you see still the same thing? Even though all these are written in the same line, as long as there are break there, let me show you. Can you see it's written on a straight line? But as long as you put this break, this break, this break, this break, it's trying to tell you that all this after the break should be written in the next line. Can you see it? Let me refresh you. See that it's still the same. Can you see? So this break, that's what it means. Now this address is trying to tell you that I want you to write it in form of address. I remember when we were discussing it, that for it to be written in form of address, it will be written in what? Italics. for you to know that yes, what I'm writing here is an address. So when you do it this way, you put this in form of address. When you have address, put it in form of address. It helps the reader or whoever is using the website to be able to understand the content given to them. They'll be able to use the browser properly. They'll be able to understand what they are doing. It's just like a front end developer. Their focus is mostly on the front end, what a user can see in the website. And if the website is not presentable, the user cannot use it. They don't understand what you are trying to present to them. It will be difficult for them to make use of such website. So that is why it is important for us to know and understand all these tags that we are using in our coding. So let's continue now. We are going to see the next one, which is the HTML site for work title. So the HTML site tag defines the title of a creative work. For instance, a book, a poem, a song, a movie, a painting, a sculpture, and so on. If you think I'm too fast, do well to go back to the previous video one after the other, or reduce the pace of the video so that you can understand what I'm saying. And if you feel you've not understand this part, you can replay those parts we've discussed earlier and work on it one after the other to see where you do not understand. So if you're having questions, do not forget to put that in the comment section, and do not forget to like our videos and subscribe if you are just joining us. And if you already subscribe, do not unsubscribe. If you are gaining values, thumb up to you for staying true, and I'm sure you are gaining values and you are learning a lot from it. If you are really enjoying and learning a lot from this channel, do not forget to share our channels to others to benefit from what you are learning as well. Now, for us to use our tag site, there's something we need to take note. A person's name is not the title of a work. So the text in the site elements is always usually rendered in italics. So we are going to take example of this code now. We are going to work on that. I'll open my my notepad. I'll copy this code. Minimize it. I'll go to my VS Code, excuse me, then I'll paste it. So now let's right click and open with live server. So let's wait and see what is going to display. Okay, can you see it here? Now, what does this mean? Let's analyze it one after the other. This is the first paragraph, the p tag. This is the browser. Can you see it? The HTML site element defines the title of the work. Can you see it here? Now, the second paragraph, browser usually displays the elements in italics, is written here. Now, images house, we've discussed that in our two previous videos or three. Do well to watch the previous video if you have not watched that, so that I can understand all what we are doing here. And if you know you are gaining values, don't forget to share our videos, like, comment, and subscribe if you are just joining us. Now, you can see an image SRS. This SRS means source. An image link is there. We have the width, that's the size of the image, the width and the height. Now, this alt here is the alternate, which means that if your browser is not displaying the image, you should give us an alternate name of what the image could be. And that is what we can see here. Browser could not display the image, probably it could not get the source of where the image is. So for now, you can see the name of the image, the screen. That tells us that since we could not get the image, what the image ought to have shown is the screen, probably somebody screaming. And that is the function of this alternate. Now, what's now the function of this site? You can see the paragraph here. Then we are saying cite the screen by Edward Munch, painted in 1893. Now let's see what it means. I said I wrote the screen in italic. Can you see now? Trying to cite the title of the book that was written by Edvard Munch and the year it was written. So when the user in the browser tries to see this written in italic, it will help them to know that this is the title of the book that was written by this person. So you can say that it changed the way it was written unlike when this was written. And remember that the site has an opening tag and an end tag. Unlike the one we talked about earlier, the break does not have any close tag. We talk about that in the second video, which is introduction to HTML1. You can watch that if you've not already watched that. So if you want to get values properly, you want to understand all these parts we're talking about, it is important for you to watch those videos one after the other, starting from introduction to HTML1, 2, 3, 4, because this is the part 5 of it. So it might be so difficult for you to understand the part 5 if you are a beginner. And do not forget to like our videos, subscribe, and share if you are gaining values. And as well, share our videos, subscribe if you are just joining us as well. Now, can you see the function of this site? It cites the name of probably the book or whatever it is. Remember in that site, we said the purpose of the site is it can be a person's name. It's usually renders in italics. And that site, whatever the tag site is going to maybe a book name, a poem, a song, a movie, a painting, a sculpture, and so on. So you want the user to understand maybe the title of the book, or you wrote a poem, you want them to know that this is a poem compared to a content. So you use this site tag to make the work look creative, to make it content, to make the content clear and understandable by the user. Because as a front-end developer, you focus on the user interface, because when a user open a website and the interface is not endearing to them, it is not something they would love to come back to be so hard for them to always make use of such websites. So that is why you have to focus on those tags that are important for each content that will be written on a website. So we'll be going to the next one, which is the HTML BDO, which is for bidirectional override. Now, what does that mean? The HTML BDO tag is used to override the content text direction. Now, how does that override content text direction, current text direction? You will see this picture now. If your browser support bidirectional override video, the next line will be written right to left. So when you write something, is written from this left this left side is written to the right places. So it will now change it from the left to the right part. Now, for you to understand that, we'll go to our notepad now. We'll copy the code and paste on our VS Code so that you understand what that means. So I'm going to copy this code now. Go to my VS Code and paste. So let's right click now and open with live server. Can you see the way it is written? Okay, first, let's see this. This pizza here, it wrote all this in paragraph. Now the next one that was written BDO direction RTL, which is from right to left. So it wrote this line will be written from right to left. It wrote this content from right to left. Can you see now? Can you see that CHS? It wrote it from from this right hand side to the left hand side. Can you see? It will write it. This CHIS, this LINE line. So it wrote those contents right to the left. So that's the purpose of this BDO direction. It changed the direction of whatever you are writing. So what does that mean? It means that if your browser supports such, it will change the content. So if your browser supports by directional override, you can use this to change it. So sometimes it might be used in a browser for a particular reason. So you can also take note of this BDO tag that can be used. So this is all about HTML quotations and citation elements. So let's move to the next part, which is the HTML comment, and let's see what that is all about. Now, what is the HTML comment? What does that mean? HTML comments are not displayed in the browser, but they can help document your HTML source code. When we talk about HTML comment tag, you can add comments to your HTML source by using the following syntax. Now look at this syntax here. You write this, you put in an exclamation mark, then you can write whatever content you want here. But notice that there is an exclamation point in the start tag, as you can see here, while in the end tag does not have an exclamation tag. But comments are not displayed by the browser. Take note, when you have a comment tag and could close whatever content you have with the comment tag, Those comments inside the comment tag does not display on the browser, but they can help document your source code. So we're going to see example of what we are trying to say about HTML comments. Now let's see this example. We want to add comments now to our browser. Let's see if it's going to show on our browser. With comments, you can place notification reminders in your HTML code. Remember, when you're writing a code, for instance, you may not use a particular day to write all of your code. You might split the days on writing it. So sometimes you use your comment tag here to indicate like a notification reminder of what you want that part to be. So let's take for instance this code here. So I'm going to copy this code here, and to do that I have my notepad. I have my notepad here and some code. So let's start with this first code. We want to see the comment, and now we're going to see how it's going to be. I've control copy now. So we want to see how it's going to be on our browser. Here's my VS code. So I'm going to delete this and paste that. Then you can see how it is even written on green color, trying to indicate and showing you that all this green color here is a comment and it will not show on your browser. So let's right click now and open it with our live server and see how it's going to look like. Maybe it's going to display or not. Remember, HTML comments does not show on your browser. So it's already starting, as you can see down here, starting. So it's going live now. Let's see how it's going to, maybe the comments here inside here is going to display on our browser or not. So when you have this, remember it starts with exclamation mark. The ending does not have any exclamation mark. So let's see how it's going to display now. Can you see? Everything we wrote in that comment tag did not display. Only what displays is the one that has a p tag paragraph. But here it does not display anything in our browser. So whatever you want to write in your code, probably you don't want anyone to see it in the browser. It is for you since you are the one writing the code. Maybe for this part, this is a paragraph. So you want to write the content that the paragraph should be built for something like to remind you of what you're writing on the code. So you can put it on a comment tag. So when you put it on the comment tag, it will not show on your browser. So now let's go back to our content and see more of that. Now, we also use it to hide content. Comments can be used to hide content. This can be helpful if you hide content temporary. So sometimes you might want to add a content temporarily for some time. So maybe you want to go back to that particular code. You are not done with that part. So you want to make that comment to remind you of you going back and what you want to include in that part. So you have to put your comment just like what we are able to do earlier, as you can see in the screen. Now, we can also use it to hide a section of HTML code. What does that mean? You can also hide more than one line. Everything between the exclamation and closing tag, which is comment tag, will be hidden from the display. Comments are also great for debugging HTML. It helps you to identify the problem in your HTML, your code part. And because you can comment out HTML lines of code one at a time to search for errors. So when you comment each of your code, it will help you to be able to search for errors when you when the code is not giving you the right thing you expected it to give you. So we are going to write this second code out now, and we'll copy it out and we are going to paste it in our browser. So let's see what difference it will make. So I control copy now. Let me minimize this and go to my VS code. Then let's control paste. Automatically your live server will display it without even refreshing. Control paste. So let's move to our live server, which is our browser, and see how it's displayed it. So can you see what is displayed? Now it only displayed the p tag content. This is a paragraph, this is a paragraph too. Can you see it here? But now all this content here, you can comment it out. This is also a p tag, but it is being commented, which means that you're trying to tell the browser not to display the content you've written. You can see that here is an image, but that is how stuff like that. It does not display all of this. But now you can use your comments to like to hide lots of content, even not only just small lines, and to add more content just to remind you of what you want to use it for, or to you can use to explain each line of code so that whoever wants to see your code will understand the content of your code as well. So we'll be moving to the next part as well, which is Hide inline contents. What does that mean? Comments can be used to hide parts in the middle of the HTML code. We can hide a part of a paragraph like this. Now we are going to copy this code and see how we are going to use this comment to hide inline code. So this is an example. So I'm going to copy this now, then I'll minimize. I'll go to my VS code and paste it. So let's see how it displays on our browser to see the difference of what it means to hide inline. Now look at this. As you can see, this p tag, this is only this I show because it does not start with the, this is the beginning tag of a comment that is being hidden. So it does not start here at the front. So this will be shown here. So you can see that we only comment this. This is only what we are hiding. Great text. Then this remaining one is written outside here. So inside your content that you want to be displayed on the browser, you can comment the inside as well, so that it will not be shown in the browser, but it will be relevant to you because you understand what your code is all about. So programmers use this a lot, especially to help you to identify errors in your code. They help you to understand each line of code and to remind you of whatever thing you still want to go back to put in your code. So you can use it to do whatever you want. So if you don't want it to be displayed in the browser, always comment your content if you don't want it to be displayed. So if you are enjoying our videos, please do not forget to subscribe. If you are just joining our channel, do not forget to like, do not forget to share as well to others so that they can gain from this knowledge that you are learning as well. And if you have already subscribed, we love you for that. And I'm sure you're enjoying this content. So continue to give it a like and comment whatever questions you have. If you're having difficulties in understanding this, do not forget to comment your questions. And the Telegram group is always, the link is always there. You can go to the sections of the video and you see the Telegram group. You can join great minds there that will assist you in other questions you have. So feel free to ask questions if you have and share it as well to all of your friends that you know would love to learn how to code. So we'll be moving to another part now. But what we finished now is all about HTML comments. So now we're moving to another part now, which is what HTML colors. So let's see what HTML colors is all about. Although in our previous video, we've been able to talk about what HTML colors are all about. If you know you've not watched the previous videos, it will be good for you to do that. As you can see in the above screen, there are links that direct you to other videos that you can watch, like the previous one. This is Introduction to HTML5. We also have Introduction to HTML4. So you can click on the link you can see above to the Introduction to HTML4, where you can if you where you can learn about HTML4, what we've discussed, because if you jump some parts, it might be difficult for you to grab all these parts. So now let's talk about HTML colors. HTML colors are specified with predefined color names or with RGB, HEX, HSL, RGBA or HSLA values, which are all color names. So in HTML, a color can be specified by using a color name. Now let's see example of this. I'm going to copy this code now. I've already copied it in my notepad. So I'll scroll down now. So this is the code here. So I'm going to copy the code now. Control copy, then I'll minimize this and go to my VS code and paste the code. So I'm going to delete this and paste the one I just copied. Control paste. As you can see, now this is an heading. Can you see the beauty of using VS code? It brings out all the colors compared to notepad that you will not even see all this. In fact, if you're making mistake on notepad, you will not even know. That's why programmers, they love using this VS code. In fact, other ones too, you can use code editors like Sublime. If you just talk about Atom, the ones you can as well use. If you've not watched the video on 5 code editors that programmers use, please do well to watch it. They are all in our video section, so you can just pick and watch. If you do, you'll be able to understand all these parts and aspects we are discussing about. If you're enjoying this video, do not forget to like and as well share others. Now look at this H1 heading. Let's see H1 star. All this H1 is the highest heading, as we have talked about in the previous videos, like I think introduction to HTML1 and 2. We talk about that. Now these are the background colors. So we want this background color. Can you see it now? So yeah, you can pick any color you want: tomato, orange, toga. So we are trying to tell it that okay, H1, the heading is the background color should be tomato. This tomato should give me a background color of tomato color. This orange content should give me a background color of orange. This dodger blue should give me a background color of that color blue. So, and if you don't want any color, when you click on the color here, you see that it's going to take you to another color where you can move this cursor to whatever direction of colors you want. So can you, as you can see here, and in fact you can see how GB is giving you the numbers of the colors because they all have numbers. Now let's go to our browser and let's see how it's going to display already. So now see the beauty of how it looks. I'm sure you love this, as you can see on the screen. So this is how it's going to look, and I'm sure you as well want to do the same. So I'll be looking forward to the comment section, screenshot your answer. Let's see this. If you need the code for me to send to you, write it in the comment sections. I'll send the code to you that you can try out, or you can just copy it one after the other. So let's go back now and let's see more of what we are talking about. So we have in our PowerPoint, we have the next part, which is the background color. So you can set the background color for your HTML element. Let's see this example. Now looking at this, that we have the H1 style, the background color, we want hello world to have a background color of dodger blue. Then this piece style, the background color should be tomato. The p paragraph here, the background color should be tomato. Now this content here is just a common content you can just use. It's not a particular word or stuff here. I think it's French stuff. So it's an example of content, whatever you like, right there. So we want all these contents written here to be to have a background color of tomato. So now I'm going to copy this code now. I already have that in my code editor as usual. So I'm going to copy it, control copy, then I'll minimize this and go to my VS code to paste it. So we are going to see what difference is going to give us for the color and the content. So let's go to our browser now and view it on a. So as you can see, this hello world here, which is H1 style, well, this hello world should give me a background color of dodger blue, and that you can see. And the second content here, all these contents here, everything should give you a background color of tomato, as you can see here. I'm sure you're enjoying this. Please do not forget to click on like and subscribe on our channel. Don't forget to share as well to those who love to learn this. So let's continue to another part. We are going to see text color. Although discuss little about all this in our previous video, but this is advancement of how to understand it better, and that's why we are picking them the code one after the other so that you can be able to understand them. But if you think I'm too fast, you don't understand, you can slow the pace of your video as you're watching it, or pause at a go, then watch it one after the other. Then if you still don't understand, I'm available. Do well to ask me question in the comment section. ASAP, I'm going to reply you. Guaranteed. In fact, you're covered. And if you're just joining our YouTube channel, please do not forget to subscribe on our channel. And if you're already subscribed, thanks to you, we are grateful. Thank you for always watching as usual. So now let's see how text color works. We are going to copy this code as well, then we'll see how it works. So I'll go to my notepad as well. Again, I've already written the code on my notepad. Let me scroll down here. I think this is it. So I'm going to copy this now. Control copy. I'll minimize my notepad and go to my VS code and paste. Let me paste it now. So control paste. That's control V is control paste. So let's say I look on our browser. Can you see? Whoa, this is so lovely. Now look at this. This hello world here, which is our content, it should be written in H3 heading, which is the third heading. It should not be so big as H1, just like the one we did earlier. And we are told that it should give us, remember we don't like background color. If it's a background color, to give us a full background of that color. But we are just saying, indicating color. I mean, the color of the content should be in tomato red. And that is what you can see here. Now, the next one here as well, as you can see, Doja Blue. We want this content to be in Doja Blue, as you can see here, which is the text alone. But if it's the background, you indicate it as background color. So the text alone here too should be shown at medium to green, which you can see is shown in medium sleep. So in fact, I'm sure you're enjoying it as I am already enjoying this coding. So let's move to the next part, which is the border color. Now, what does that mean? Says you can set the color of borders. Like, what does border means? We are going to know now. Let's see example. I'm going to copy this code now on my notepad. So we want to understand what setting our color in border, what does that mean? So we're going to see the difference of what it means compared to the one we've been doing earlier. So now I've copied it on my note for my notepad. I'm going to paste it on my VS Code now. Control V. So now we go back to our browser and view it and see how it looks. Whoa, can you see? Can you see? This is so pretty. So you can just come straight right there. H1 style. Remember, you always put your style. Your style indicates what you want your content to look. And you style beautify our content. If you just H1, you just give black and white, no color. But when you put a style, it's going to beautify your work. And that's what we are doing here. We want our content everywhere there should have a border. Now this is the border now. Can you see it now? Border gives 2px. Now if I change this 2 pixel to 5, let's compare and see how it's going to look. Now let's go back. Can you see how it look more thicker? So it shows how thick you want your border to be. If you don't want it to be too thick, like 3px, let's see how it's going to be. Can you see? It's still loading. Can you see it's different from 2px? Then if it's just one, like just want it to be so tiny, then see how it looks. So you just freestyle with it, work with it, and see, enjoy your work. But as a code, you're going to enjoy it when you're seeing your work giving you the shape you want. So all these content are written in the style it wants, which is the border. You have to indicate with style, like you want to style your content, then you put the style. What type of style? Now we are telling you it's border. Now what size of the border? 2px. How does it want you to be solid? Then this is the color. Can you now see? So, and that's what you can see on the screen. So let's continue now to our next part to see color values. Now, what does color values mean? In HTML, colors can also be specified using RGB, HEX, HSL, RGBA values, and HSLA values, just like what we said earlier. Now, this is an example of the content. We are going to see how it looks. In my VS Code, we are going to copy first, then we'll paste and see how it's going to look on our browser. So we are going to see the difference. Now I've copied it. I'm going back to my VS Code now. Please, if you think I'm too fast, can reduce the pace of my talking in your video and listen. Now let's see our browser and see what we've done right here. Here is my browser. Whoa. So let's see what it looks like. Now the first one here is p paragraph, same as color number. You can see just this because there's no style in front of you. If you want it to change, you can just put p style, indicate the style, maybe background color should be pink or just the color of the text. But now there's no style there, so it's just plain. Now the next one has a style, H1 heading. So H1 here makes the heading big. If it's 2, it will reduce it a bit. 3, it will reduce it more. And it's just the list is H6. So we want H1 style now. Then we are not telling it to give it a background color of this. The RGB indicate the numbers of the color. Can you see? Now we are not telling you that okay, I just wrote this content at the same as color. So whatever content you like, you can freestyle with it and write it. So we're telling you that this content should have a background color and the color should be written in RGB, which is the number, as you can see in the screen. So this one to have a background color of this will not be number, also alphabet. And can you see that these three are the same color? Or you can indicate it in these three ways: HSL, HSA, RGB, and so on. Can you now see? So these three are the same color. Or you can just pick the color, background color, maybe peach. Or background color, just write the name of the color straight, and you see the colors every time writing the number. Now, look at this next one here. Does not have any style, so the paragraph content is just written that way. Then the last one here, the two last one here, you can see that we indicated it again to another color. As you can see here, it gave it the exact color. While the last one does not have any style, so it is written. Can you see the difference of putting your style in your tag and not putting your style in your tag? Yeah, our tag style is written, but yeah, there's no style here. Can you see? So if you just write on it with your HTML, it's just be black and white, and it's so boring. It's not. In fact, those coming to your browser or to the site will never enjoy the content there. But when you beautify it using your style, it makes it more attractive. It moves the user to always want to come to your website. So that is the beauty of using our style whenever we are writing our code. I'm sure you're enjoying this. If you do, do not forget to click on like and subscribe on our channel. Now we're going to the X color values. In HTML, a color can be specified using a hexadecimal value in the form RRGGBB. Now, what does R mean? That RR indicates red, GG means green, BB means blue, and they are all hexadecimal values between 0000 and FF. Same as decimal 0 to 255, just like the numbers you see earlier on the VS Code. So to display color black now, we have to set all the color parameters to 0. So if you put all this to be 0, it's going to give you color black. Now to display it to be white, you have to set all parameters to F, which is what's white. So for example, now if you now put just to F and the remaining one is 0, 0, it will give you red, because the red is set to the highest value, FF, and the other two, green and blue, are set to 0, 0. Can you see? So another example is 0, 0, FF 0, 0 is displayed as green. You can see the F is at the middle because green is set to the highest value, FF, and the other two are red and blue are set to 0, 0. Now we are going to see what these colors will give us when we copy this code. We are going to go to our notepad as well again. I'll scroll down a bit and copy the code as it's written. So now I'm copying the code now, Control C, which is copy. Then I'll minimize it and go to my VS Code. Then I'm going to paste, Control V. Now I've pasted, let's go to our browser and see what is being displayed on. Can you see? This is so beautiful. Can you see? So now our background color we indicate to be FF00. This 300. Can you see how it looks? Now this 40 have FF. Can you see? Now what if I now indicate this FF now? I put 00, then 00, then can you see how it changed to what, black here? Can you see by the right? Now what if I now the two middle value there? There's always 6 numbers. Then I put FF. Let's see the color is going to give us. FF. Can you see? Whoa, color green. So lemon. Now what if I now put this 00 back? Then I come here and put my FF. It will give us color blue, as you can see down here. Now what if everything is now FF? That's 6F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to give me color white. So it will not show because here it's already color white. So it's rhyme with it. Can you see it there? So just freestyle with this and work on it. You're going to enjoy it. Like this now, when you put the FF as the last, give you color blue. Then these are the numbers you can also use to indicate our colors as well, which apart from alphabet and numbers. So we use this as well. And if you don't want, just write color blue or whatever you want, then move your cursor to whatever color you want. Can you see that the numbers are changing to the name of the colors? So enjoy working with this. We start with content and see how color works. And when you're doing so, I'm sure you enjoy doing that. So this is the end of our HTML colors. So I would like you to freestyle on your own, work with it, pick any colors you want. If you want the code and source code, just put that in comment section. I'm going to send it to you. Then you can freestyle on that, edit it, and work on it to enjoy it. So we move to the next part now, which is HTML style CSS. In fact, this part is so lovely. It makes your work easier, it makes your work beautiful, it makes your work organized and so on. So let's just calm down, follow along with me. Let's enjoy this together. Now, what do we mean by CSS? I'm sure we hear CSS, CSS, CSS. Although we are still working on HTML, we are still going to treat CSS on a full part, just like the way we are treating our HTML. But without CSS, HTML will be boring. So that's why we need to talk about CSS a little bit, if not much. So that is what we are learning now. So our CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS saves a lot of work. It can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. Do you believe? We are going to do that today. Now, what is CSS? Cascading Style Sheet is used to format the layout of a web page. With CSS, you can control the color, font, size of your text. In fact, the spacing between the elements, how the elements are positioned and laid out, what background images or background colors are to be used, different display for different devices and screen sizes, and much more. Do you know CSS can do all this? Don't worry, continue to watch our videos. We are going to show you step by step on how to do this. But take note, The word cascading means that a star applied to a parent element will also apply to all the children elements within the parent. So if you set the color of the body text, for instance, to blue, all the headings, paragraph, and other text elements within the body too will also get the same color, unless you specify something else. And that is the meaning of cascading. Can you see? Cascade the style of your sheet. So let's continue. Now, to use CSS, we can add it to our HTML document in three ways, any part. So we're going to talk about these two ways more on HTML. While when we move to the CSS part, we talk more on external. But don't worry, we are going to talk about external way we are going to use it, but to not be in so much part in the two parts. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the three. Well, I love using the external parts. But calm down. Let's take it one after the other. Now, what is inline? By using the style attribute inside the HTML element, that is inline. What of internal? By using a style element in the head section. Why the external? By using a link element to link to an external CSS file. So what we want to be doing since that I'll be adding our style to our tag is what to inline. We are writing it inside the line of our code. That is in line. So we are going to still talk about the internal one. We want to write it at the heading part before we even write our body. First start writing the content inside the body. We use that in internal. But why the external? We will create another link. We will create um another page for it that it will be directing us to that CSS. So whatever you work, as long as the link is there, it will be giving you everything that the link is directing you to. Don't worry, I'm going to do all that. But the most common way to add CSS is to keep the styles and external CSS files as a pro programmer. We are getting there. We are going to get there together. So as a pro, you use what external. But for now, it is important for you to know how to use inline and internal because sometimes it is important to use that when you're writing your code. But don't worry, we learn the external together in time. So however, in this tutorial, we are going to use inline and internal styles because this is easier to demonstrate and easier for you to try it yourself. Remember, this is just we are trying to explain this for beginners step by step. We are not rushing this. So this HTML is introduction. So we are taking especially for those that don't have idea of coding, does not have idea of what code is all about. So that is why it will be partial for us just to move to external straight without explaining what internal, inline and internal is, how to use them. So we take that step by step before moving to external. So throughout our coding and HTML, we focus more on inline and internal. But we are still going to talk about external part as well, but we won't go deep. But as we are going further in our coding, in fact, we are going to do more of external. In fact, you will not be pro in using your external documents in writing your HTML documents. So let's continue. Now, let's start with our inline CSS. An inline CSS is used to apply a unique style to a single HTML element. An inline CSS uses the style attribute of an HTML element. The following example set the text color H1 element to blue and the text color of the P element to red. So we are going to write this code out now. Go to my notepad, then we are going to make it display on our VS Code and see how it looks on our browser. So we started our inline CSS, control copy now, minimize this. Let's go to our VS Code and see the difference of what inline CSS means. So my browser now is open, as you can see. So let's see what inline means according to what we discussed. Remember I said the one we discussed earlier, since putting style in our tag is in line because this is the line of my code, and inside the line of my code I'm doing what? I'm putting my style. So this is an example of what inline element. So we are putting our style inside the line of your code. As you can see, H1 we are telling H1 the style should be blue, the content should be written in blue, while the P style content should be written in what? Red background. Can you now see the difference? So this is in line first, and beginner those starting to learn HTML, it's easier for them to understand it. Now we go to internal. What does that mean? An internal CSS is used to define a style for a single HTML page. An internal CSS is defined in the head section. In fact, it's usually in the head section before you write the body part. I'm going to show you, don't worry. of an HTML within a style element. So the following example said the text color of all the HTML elements on the page to blue and the text color of all the P elements to red. In addition, the page will be displayed with a powder blue background color. Now we're going to copy this code and I'll explain, analyze it one after the other for you to understand what we're trying to make, the difference between inline and internal CSS. So watch as I copy and paste on the VS Code. Control paste. Now let's go to our browser and let's say I display it. I'm going to explain it one after the other. This is beautiful. Now look at something. Remember earlier when we talk about inline elements, we write each one style, tell the style what to do. Maybe you make the text color blue. But now this is internal. What does that mean? Yeah, after the heading, after the head, remember the head. Sorry, remember in the head here. Yeah, after the head here, we have the body. In this code we'll be writing before. So under the body, we write our code and put our style. But for internal, after the head here, you put your style. Can you see the star? Start with style and the end, start and end tag too. End with the style attribute end tag. So under the style here, we have our body. We are trying to tell you that okay, oh, every content you are going to write in the body should follow this background color you are writing, which is powder blue. And every H1 inside your body here should have color. The color of the text should be blue. And every PO that you have in your body here should have color red, as you can see in the browser beside it. Can you see the difference between internal and external? So the internal here, the style of what you want your content to be is written up after the head, while the inline is always written inside the content here. Can you see? So this is internal. Can you see the difference now between internal and inline? But if you think you still have questions, you don't understand, pause the video, play it again one after the other, and see to understand better. But if you still don't, please put your questions on the comment section and or join Telegram group where you can say like mind programmers that will assist you. So or put your comment on the comment sections and ask whatever questions you have, they will be there to assist you, give you help wherever area you want. Please do not forget to like our video, subscribe, and as well share if you are enjoying our video. Now we're going to the external CSS. I won't talk much on this, but we're still going to talk about it. An external style sheet is used to define the style for many HTML pages. So to use an external style sheet, we are going to add a link to it in the head section of each HTML page. Look at this example now. Doctor HTML, the head. So after the head, you add a link that will direct you to your style. This is the example of the link. Then you close the head. Then you start with your body and write the content. So which means that whatever is written inside the link will affect your content here. So the external style sheet can be written in any text editor. The file must not contain any HTML code and must be saved with .css extension. So this link here must not have any HTML code only CSS. And when you want to save it, you must save it with .css extension, whatever name you want, .css. So but you have to put this link in the ending head, sorry, the head of after the HTML. So here is what the styles.css files look like. So let's take for instance this is an example of style.css. How it always looks like you're trying to tell you that the body the background color should show powder blue, the H1 color blue, the P color red. But with an external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. So it has a lot of advantage. Now let's take example now. We want to use the use of CSS color, font family, and font size properties. So we want to do this using the example of our, you can see that after the head we have the style. So this is an example of our internal element. So it's not inline. Remember, inline is always written inside the code. So I'm going to copy this code now. I'm going to see how inline, just like what we did earlier, looks like. So let's see if I can see the code here. This is example of external. Yeah, I think this is it. So we are going to copy the code now and paste it on my VS Code. So let's move to our browser and see how it is being displayed. So as you can see. So these are the style from here to here. Then you are trying to tell the style that this style work on these two contents for me, as you can see. Now the reason why this is trying to give me red and trying to write one here, trying to tell me that there is one error here. So the error is I did not close this tag. So when I close it, you see that the error is going to leave. Can you now see the error left as no more showing? So it's important to always close it with this curve bracket here. So I'm trying to tell you that this content H1, can you see that indicating is H1? This P indicates as P. Trying to tell you that okay, anything that is written in the content that have H1 should have this property. Like the color should be blue, the font family should be banana, and the font size should be 300%. And anything that is written in P, the content should have color red the font family Korea, and the font size should be 160, as you can see in our browser. Is this not beautiful? Yes, it is so beautiful. In fact, if you're enjoying this, give it a thumb up. Do not forget to do that. We'll be going to the next part now. We want to see what CSS border means. The CSS border, remember earlier we said we are going to talk about the CSS color, font family, and font size, and that's what we talk about. We saw the font family, font size. So now we are going to move to the border. What does that mean? The CSS border property divides the border around an HTML. You can divide the border for a nearly HTML element for all of them, nearly all of them. Example, now we have use of CSS border property. We have the P. So after the heading, we have the star here. The border is 2px solid powder blue. So what does this border means? We've done something like that, remember, earlier. But we are still going to do that again. So I'm going to copy the code now. I minimize. Go to my VS Code now. Paste it. So let's see how it looks on our browser so that we come to understand what the border means. Now look at this. This H1 here and this star here, which is our internal element. This H1 here is trying to tell you that okay, can you see? We close it. Okay, let me put this so that to differentiate it. So this is P tag here. Can you see everything here? It has only the one that has P. I'm trying to tell you that in the style, only the one that has P paragraph, P tag here should work with this. But can you see that we have H1 here, but there is no style for H1. So H1 will just be just like that. This is the heading, H1 heading. But for this P is not telling us that okay, all the P tag here should work with this. The border 2px solid, it should have color of powder blue. So even though you have a lot of code and you have another p tag somewhere else, no matter how far the code is, no matter how far the line of code is, as long as the p tag here is also the p tag of that line of code, it will work with this content here. It will also have a 2px border line and the color of what? Powder blue. So as you can see on the browser. So that is what border means. Can you see? So let's see the next one. CSS padding. What does that mean? The CSS padding property divides the padding space. Padding means space between the text and the border. Example use of CSS border and padding properties. We have this code. Let's see the border. Let's see the difference first. We are going to see the difference of what that padding is. When we put padding, what difference will it give us? So I'm going to copy this code, Ctrl C, minimize this and go to my VS Code. Ctrl P. So let me go to my browser now. Whoa, see how it looks so beautiful. Can you see? So now let's see what it means here. Let me click it. So let's compare. Here we have our P tag here under the star. We are trying to tell you that wherever you see your P in the body, you should have a border of 2px solid powder blue and you should have a padding space of 30px. So that px is pixel. So now here this H1, this is our H1, is not talking about H1, just P. All this P content now is not having 30 pixel. Yeah, can you see the distance? Now let me change this. Now let me put 50 px. Let's see the difference of how it's going to look. Can you see the gap more? That's more gap. Now let me see the one that put the one that will be obvious that we can easily see the gap. Let me put 100. Can you see the gap around it? Can you see? Can you see? The gap is very, very much. So we are trying to give it gap, like the padding, give it space or whatever gap you want. Just start with it and work with it, especially when you're coding to beautify your work. So that's the purpose of padding. Now the next one is margin. Margin property defines a space. Also, margin is a space as well, but this space is outside the border. That's the difference. But earlier we talked about padding. The padding space own is always between the text and the border. While for margin, the space is always outside the border. So we are going to write the code now. Let's compare it with the one we have previously, the one for padding. So we are going to see the difference between padding and the margin. So this is my code here. So I'm going to copy this, control copy. Then I'll minimize and then go to my VS Code. I'm going to paste it here. And let's go to our browser and see how it looks. Can you see how tiny it is? Because we are trying to tell that the margin should just be 50 px. Now, if I increase this margin, let's say I increase it to 150. Let's see how it looks. Can you see the gap from this heading here? It's trying to tell you that from this place that was written before, give me a margin, a gap. The next one too, it gave it a margin of 150 px. But if I change it back to 50, you see how close they will look. Can you see how close they are? This is just distance over 50 px. Can you see? So work with it. We start with it and see how it works on your code and start using it whenever you are coding. We also have, now we are moving to the part of this linking to external CSS. So I'm going to discuss on how to use this a bit, which will help. So for external style sheets we've talked about earlier, can be referenced with a full URL or with a part related to the current web page. So this example uses a full URL to link to start a sheet. So let's see if we can copy this code first. So let's see what external means. I'm copying this, minimizing, going to my VS Code. Now, let me paste this first. Yeah, we are trying to tell it that, okay, this is an external link though, like this. So, okay, first, let me see how it looks on the browser. Yeah, this external link will take you to the link of this site where you can learn HTML style. Now, but if you want a reference link here that will direct you to your own file that you are working on, where you can write your style. So in this external part here, they were already written the style or the body. That's why it could give them this color. So we want this exact color now. What can we do? So we are not using this link here. We want to use our own link that we've created. So to do that, I'll come here. Click on this first here. Write, let's say, style dot. Remember, you have to have a CSS extension style and click enter. So I already have this space here. So it's already waiting for me to start. So let's say my body content. Let's see our HTML and see, okay, we have H1, we have P. So we want our background color first to be sky blue. Okay, background color. Let's pick any color here, blue. Then this is for our body. Then I can put enter, maybe. Now, okay, that's just for the body. Now in the HTML we have H1 tag and P1 tag. So I want the text to have different color as well. Since I've already changed my background color, so let me go to my style here. Let's write my H1. I can put color. Let me pick blue. Then my P tag. Let me pick color first. So I'm going to pick, let's see. Okay, let me pick this lemon. As you can see now, for you to make this style show on this your HTML code you've written, you have to link it. So I'm going to link it to be style.css that we've created. Now for you to know whether it has linked, you click it and follow the link. I've clicked the link now. Can you see it brought me here? So it has automatically linked my second style CSS inside this my HTML. So this how you work with external style sheets, which most programmers love doing. In fact, I love using this. So as you can see in our browser, can you see it has changed? Definitely. Now this, I'm trying to say that this my body here for my style. Look at this style here. The body here background color should be blue. As you can see here, the background color is what? Blue. Let me change this color so that they'll not be two the same color. It may not show. So I'll just pick pink. Let me pick pink. It can show. So let me go back to my HTML. So I'm trying to tell it here now. Now my head H1 here, I indicate it here that okay, my H1 here should have color. The text color should be pink. Now let's see if it is pink. Can you see? Beautiful. Now let's see the second one as well. My P, I'm trying to indicate that this text color, I'm giving it color, let it to be something. As you can see here, lemon. And this is what you can see here. So it is so simple to link your style to CSS. In fact, you just be working on your style code here, whatever you want to do, code it here on your style. It will be so neat, and your HTML code will just be here without putting style inside here, or without putting your style under your after your heading, after your head. Can you see now? So these are the three ways. In line, putting your style inside. Internal, you put your style after the heading, while external, you put aside outside in your file that you're working on. So if you're enjoying this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. In fact, share, please share. And if you have subscribed already, don't subscribe. Are you not enjoying what we are doing here? If you are, please on your notification and keep enjoying this. But if you think you don't understand what we are doing, we've gone so far, please do well to watch the previous videos. This is introduction to HTML5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. If you've not watched them, you are missing a lot. There's a link showing up, or you can find at the end of the content of this video. Click on it. The previous one, which is HTML4 that we've talked about before this. So example is what we've talked about. Whatever name you want to put it, you can put it. Now this example link to a style sheet located in the HTML folder on the current website. So whatever name you want to link, if a folder is written in this inside the style HTML folder you're working on, just make sure you click it so that it can be linked to what you're working. This is also example too. The example links a style sheet located in the same folder, just like the one we worked on, style.css. So I named my CSS with style. My styles will be styles dot. Remember, always put the extension dot css. Don't forget. So it helps the browser to understand that okay, because you are writing is the style css. So the summary of what we discussed so far for our CSS, HTML CSS cascading style sheet is that we use the HTML style attributes for the inline styling. We use the HTML style element to define the internal CSS. We use the HTML link element to refer to an external CSS file. Just the one that have a link that directs us to another website. Then we use the HTML head element to store the style and the link. Remember, we put our style and the link in the head part. We use the CSS color property for the text color. We use one for font family for the text font to change the font of the text. Then the font size to change property of the text size by increasing it to whatever sizes you want. Then also use the border property for the border. Create a border for the text. Then for the padding, space the content inside the border, and for the margin, you space it outside the border. So I'm sure you enjoy what we discussed so far. So this is the end of our HTML styles CSS. So the assignment for this video is I want you to write a page code, just a page. And in that code, in that page, I want you to display all the elements we have discussed on this video. Remember we talk about 3 or 4 elements before the HTML styles. We talk about color and stuff like that. So I want you to write all the elements discussed on this video, such as the HTML quotation, HTML comments, the HTML star, HTML CSS. In fact, these are itself: quotation, comment, star, and CSS. Now, this display. I want that code to display HTML quotation, it should display HTML comment, it should display HTML star, and HTML CSS. Screenshot your answer to the comment section or on the Telegram group. Let's discuss together. If you're having question, if you don't understand the question, put that in the comment section. Ask a question, whatever you have. Let's discuss that together. And go to the Telegram group. The link is down there. Click on it. You see great mindeds are ready to assist you whatever questions you have. So if you still don't get some part that we've discussed, feel free to ask questions in the comment sections. Will be replied ASAP as soon as possible. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sure you enjoyed. And if you know you enjoyed, please do well to like the video, subscribe, and share as well to others who might want to have the opportunity to learn this. Because we are moving gradually now to a part where we are going to build a full page for all of you. We can start with building our first portfolio on using just our HTML and CSS. Do you believe? You can write a full code, beautiful code, web page just using your HTML and CSS. So as you're enjoying this, please do well to share to others to come to enjoy as well. So thank you. See you in the next video where we are going to discuss HTML links, HTML images, HTML favicon, HTML page title, and HTML tables. I'm sure you'll be looking forward to all these that we're going to discuss. Please on your notification so that when each of our videos are being dropped, you'll be first person to be notified and you'll be able to get ready to start learning. So thank you. See you.